Well.
That was good jumping, huh?
Oh man,
How the turntables
feels good to be back.
How the turntables have feels good to be back.
It's crazy
man.
that it's only been 1 week.
Has not.
Wait,
Sabbatical.
I brought out the SM7B
Our old friend.
just for comparison.
This one's heavier, huh? We have different microphones now.
Get a lift on this.
Oh, it's weird. The weight is distributed differently.
The weight
this is more
distribution is
even. Maybe
different.
this one is bottom heavy.
You think the SM7B is bottom heavy?
Yeah, it's super bottom heavy. This one is.
It's so conical.
This one's more centered.
Do you ever feel like you're well, like before we could be like, oh yeah, we're like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Famously recorded Thriller on an SM7.
Now we're not. I like that it has like the extra handle to hold on to. Also, we know it's not a handle, but it does help with the noise.
What have you been up to?
Oh man, we're gonna get into a lot of stuff. It's been a little bit of time since we recorded an episode.
What are you talking about? It's only been 1 week.
Week and a half. Week and a half minimum.
A lot has changed.
A lot has changed in a week and a half, and that's how it goes. And it's been a roller coaster. It really has been, for me at least. I don't know what it's been like for you. December time, November time, things slow down.
Yeah.
You seem like there's nothing on the horizon.
Yeah.
And then
What?
different opportunities, different people. You know,
But
but
I feel like the holiday season just kind of slows down though, doesn't it?
it does, but it doesn't have to. We'll talk
Sure.
about it. We'll talk about it right now. I took advantage of different situations, but so what we're gonna talk about is our recap.
Sure.
Our recap
This
of the
is
week.
this is our weekly review.
I did it. Did you see that? I did it exactly. I did the
Well,
hand sign.
come over a little bit more.
Okay, sorry.
Weekly review.
Nice. Okay.
Wait,
Uh-huh.
we never did an intro. This is TalkBox.
Welcome to TalkBox.
TalkBox. Is it the TalkBox or TalkBox?
No, it just has to be TalkBox.
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 Okay.
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox. TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
Okay. It can be loose. It can be free.
Okay. TalkBox.
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 Okay.
TalkBox.
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 This is
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox. TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
TalkBox.
This is TalkBox.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not
That's
bad
pretty good.
Yeah.
This is TalkBox.
Yeah. I'm Matchi,
I'm Narek.
and you just listened to our fabulous new intro.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the production on that intro,
Crazy.
crazy.
It's sort of like a Kenny Beats type beat.
It's kind of an earworm, huh?
Yeah.
Not bad.
It really
Everybody
stays in the
everybody
noggin.
I showed it to, they were like singing it after. They were like singing the
We should have max auto-tune on our voices. Actually, it makes it better.
Why?
that there's
I'm not
nothing.
changing it.
Yeah, I know, I'm joking.
It's,
I'm joking,
it's
I'm
set
joking,
in
I'm
stone.
joking,
That thing
I'm
isn't going to
joking,
get touched for another year at least.
At least a year until we pop off.
Oh man! And then it'll be like a relic. Then we'll get like the HD version.
Mhm.
It'll be like, wow, this is like the 4K.
We'll hire a
intro.
producer to actually do it.
That's so messed up.
That's so disrespectful.
messed up.
So disrespectful.
I only
Every
want a
time I
diff-
talk to you on the phone, it's so disrespectful.
I only want a different intro if it's Kenny Beats.
I don't know. We're gonna have to work up a GoFundMe maybe or a budget.
GoFundMe. That's like the whole point of the show is just to get the Kenny Beats intro.
Yeah, and then we cancel it.
Okay. Weekly review.
Week in review.
Sure. I forgot. It's been so long. I mean, it's only been 1 week, but it's been so long that I don't even remember the segments anymore.
Yeah, so we're completely going left field with the entire
Sure.
podcast now.
Yeah.
So whatever comes to our mind, we're blurting it out.
Yeah. So I think let's give a little preface. So like the holiday season, infamously for creatives, is the slowest time of the year.
Yeah.
And that's because in LA, either, everybody that's transplanted here either goes back for the holidays or
General holiday break as well, like
Um,
Thanksgiving and
right.
Christmas.
And nobody has any money.
But you spend the most of it. You spend the most you've ever spent the entire year in the 2 months. That's why I'm saying it's such a tough season for people who are freelance essentially, is because you spend the most money
Right.
throughout the year during this time period.
Yeah.
But you also have probably the least amount of work. because the people who are moving here are the ones that are probably going to spend money. If
Yeah.
you know, that's sort of how it works out in the beginning with the way you meet people. It's like, oh, I'm also from out of town. You're from out of town, trying to make it happen. It becomes really cool once you start working with different studios, different production facilities, and maybe you might have consistent work there. But even they are counting on people from out of town or out of the state to get consistent work.
Right.
So generally speaking, slow time period.
So instead of like trying to focus on work, we're focusing on like networking and meeting people and like trying to better ourselves as creatives instead of just focusing on making money.
Instead of making money, which is much easier said than done. It is
Yeah.
very like, imagine for just to premise this, I was working like I didn't see anyone for 3 months probably. I was working like I barely had time to come and do this podcast. Like I was working 50 to 60 hours a week, sometimes 70 hours a week, non-stop. I was
Right.
making good money, but I was very just drained.
Yeah.
Not just physically, mentally as well. Like the one day I'd have off would be spent just moping around my house and catching up on a bunch of work that I was supposed to do for other artists because it's been so hectic and it doesn't feel great, but depending on what you're doing, right? If you're like working your dream, you know, and you're working with artists and stuff, it's different.
Sure.
My job involves a lot of manual labor,
Yeah.
a lot of events, dealing with a lot of different kinds of people. Working in event production, so once that stopped, it literally just came to a halt. Like mid-November or early in November came to a halt. You have bills and things that you're thinking about while you're taking on these different, you know, months, and you didn't think it was, it's slow season, but we have so much work. There's no way it's gonna just literally for
Just disappear.
for a month and a half it disappeared.
Yeah.
I went into the office maybe like 3 times until right now, which is towards the end of December. I've been there maybe 4 times within the past month and a half, which is crazy. So that was the situation I was in, and in the beginning it wasn't like, oh, let me network. It's like, okay, like how am I gonna make some money, pay off all these like holiday expenses, you know, November, Black Friday, you want to invest in yourself, you know. So it's really tough, but I did find a lot of benefit from it, and it's great to remember that we learn from a lot of our lowest moments and from a lot of our mistakes, and you have to be okay with that, obviously, in order to grow. And seeing the consequences of all your actions, it's just a really interesting path because you don't realize that some of your lowest points will be some of your best moments. Anyways, before we get into it, but what was it like for you this past, like, let's say month?
I've just been in a really weird spot. I think we're having very drastically different experiences in LA right now.
Yeah, very.
And speaking candidly, it's just like I've been I had to, for unforeseen circumstances, completely switch up my entire lighting and camera setup, my entire video setup. And so we're recording on a new camera with a new lens.
Looks great.
With a new key light and 2 new fill lights. And
good thing it was Black Friday, huh?
Right, exactly. It happened right around Black Friday. I was like, this might be the best time for this terrible thing to happen. But other than that, you know, I have done maybe like 2 photo shoots, which like really isn't that many. I mean, like it's been like 4 weeks. But, you know, trying to figure myself out. We've been going through a lot here, and just like I transition between audio and video. So it's just been like a lot of soul searching, if you will.
Yeah.
Becoming a mild alcoholic.
No, not even close. But I feel like you had gotten those assistant gigs, and because things slowed down,
right,
just general work slowed down, but you were picking up on those gigs and getting like regular work, which was really cool. And but it's funny if you look back at like 2 episodes ago, we're like, all this stuff is happening, you know, I'm so busy, and like I'm assisting like once, twice a week. I have a bunch of work and I can't even make time. And now it's like you're just sitting in your home and waiting for work and reaching out to people. No one's in town. No one's like, oh, I'll hit you up after New Year. You know, like it's so insane. And
so it's just been, exactly. It's just been like trying to find people to network with. Can I say?
But even then, that's the problem. That's the problem, is even then, networking with people it's not like, oh, I was like, I think I mentioned this last episode, I wasn't really doing much, so I want to reach out to people, or I realized I wasn't doing it as much as I wanted to. Even then, like, people weren't reaching out to me. I was reaching out to a bunch of people,
Right.
and people weren't reaching out back. I was getting like left on red essentially all the time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was sitting at home literally doing nothing. I was trying my best, I'm looking at job boards every single day.
Yeah.
I know every single job that's up for the audio and video market on a daily basis. I look at it. So it's like there's nothing available. blank. And even if they do get back to you, which the big jobs will like, it'll take at least like 2 months for them to even message you back if it's a big company.
Yeah.
Activision, Blizzard, whatever production company
Sure.
is like at least 2 to 3 months. Disney. I've waited for like a Disney rejection for like 6 months before. They sent me a rejection letter. I'm like, I didn't even know I applied to this job. But that being said, you're in like a pit. Like there's nothing. But sorry, you were gonna say something.
Networking is really difficult right now. I want to include my play because this was actually big brain. So there's this photographer that I look up to.
This is
And,
amazing.
I've been following him on Instagram for a while, and I know that he lives in LA. And watching his YouTube videos, and then out of nowhere he posted on his Instagram selling his camera bag.
Yeah.
And I happened to need a new camera bag, and literally I'd sat on it for a week. I was like, I need to buy a new camera bag. I'll wait and then pick one up at Sammy's on Monday, and then on Sunday this guy posts on Instagram that he's selling his bag. I go hit him up. I go, I need a new bag, and then I go and
Makes
network.
sense.
I network with him for 45 minutes. And I'm like, wow, spending the money on a camera bag just to network with this guy, genius move.
Yeah, but you guys ended up
Genius
getting
play.
along.
Yeah, no, it was great. He gave me free film, incredible. If you know what, I'll throw up some of those pictures with the film
Nice.
here,
Are you serious?
here,
Oh man.
here,
Should I just start yelling?
and there.
Here.
Anyway,
Take it away, put it back. Wow. Let's see your editing skills.
I thought that was actually just such a big brain play on my part.
But that's how it has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're trying to use people. A lot of the times you end up meeting a lot of these people that you look up to. For me, it's gone really well. They've been really cool. Initially, it's like, oh, let's make a connection, let's network, whatever. But you just want to, when we say networking, it's like you meet someone, you don't go give me a job.
Right.
It's like, let me learn about what their story has been like, what their advice may be, what they might have done to, get some extra work, extra success, whatever led to their general success. And they'll give you advice. They're very open to helping other people out because they've been in the same position you've been in.
Yeah.
And they end up just being friends.
I love that
you
thing
just
too.
make new friends.
That's people love talking about themselves.
Yeah.
So subconsciously everybody loves talking about themselves. So if you show up and network with people and you just ask them questions, they eat that shit up. They eat it up.
But it is a really good way to make friends.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So what have you been doing for the last?
And finding mentors. Finding mentors is really key. That's another way to find a
Huge.
good mentor. Is you ask them questions and you ask them about things that they have knowledge about that you don't, and they enjoy teaching you and telling you about the things that they've experienced, because at the end of the day, what we're doing is a passion. Everyone that you'll talk to is passionate about what they do.
Right.
If you're asking the right people.
And I mean, that's the big thing too, is that with creative works, it's you're almost never going to be able to fully realize anything until you have people showing you what to do. Unless you have a mentor, it's
There's no way.
there's no way that we would have come as far as musicians without working at the studio that we worked at.
Oh yeah, no way. I mean, it was. You'll look back and think about what you knew when you first started, and then how much you know now. Some of it due to maybe the studio, some of it due to someone you met there, some of it on your own accord. But your progress, if you're really going at it on a year-to-year basis, trying to learn new things, your progress is so exponential. It's crazy.
Right.
And but being around the right people will further that times 10. And that was my issue about where I've been recently. It's I sort of stopped where I'm at. It was hard to learn new things. And so I started reaching out to a bunch of different types of people. Let me say this story real quick.
Sure.
It's not going to be real quick. Let's be real. We all know me. But I told the last story about how I met this cool engineer and, awesome.
Yeah.
But I have been really looking for a position to assist another engineer who is doing relatively well, bigger sessions and stuff, but it's very hard to find. I don't know how many months ago. I want to throw a random number out there. I don't know how accurate it could be. I could look at my emails and whatever. Like 7 months ago, I emailed this engineer that I wanted to just talk to.
Yeah.
Just talk to, because I had taken a class with them at some point during COVID. Everything was shut down, so people were signing up for like community college classes just for fun, you know, audio engineering classes. I met him there, but I didn't really know him. One day, I'm on Instagram. I'm going through my Instagram. I get a sponsored ad for this like a masterclass thing.
Yeah.
And on the masterclass ad, I see this person's face. I'm like, this person looks so familiar. Like, who is this? So familiar? And I look at the name. I'm like, I know this name. I go to my emails. That person I had class with, I had emailed him about an isotope sale that was going on.
Yeah.
Because I told the class how much I got the isotope bundle for, which was like $150. They're like, there's no way. So I emailed him the link like 4 years ago, like three years ago maybe, during like the beginning of COVID. So I look at the name on the email, which I found.
Yeah.
And then I found his name on Instagram, and they matched up. I was like, oh my God, there's no way I have to email this guy, you know? And I saw the work that he had doing. He told me when I was at school, I was like, oh, work is picking up and stuff. I looked at what he's doing. I was like, this is cool stuff. This is really good. This guy's doing great. You know, I'd love to talk to him. So I end up emailing him, doesn't answer. Email him again, doesn't answer. This is like a couple weeks in gap, a month gap. I ask a friend, I'm like, hey man, I really want to talk to this guy. I feel like it was a weird sign that I saw him on Instagram like that. Like, it was just so random. You know, do you think it's weird if I text him, or, you know, like another contact info, maybe he's not seeing it? He's like, oh no, like here's his number. Like he had it was a friend from the same class. He's like, oh, here's his number. Like, he's a really cool guy. It's all love. I don't think he's going to be upset. I'm like, okay, cool. So I end up texting him.
Did you, when you texted him, did you tell him that you had emailed him a couple times?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Okay.
I probably mentioned something about sorry for blowing you up. You know?
Yeah.
But I generally knew him. We had like a whole semester together. You know, we didn't talk that much, but like he was in the class. He was a really nice guy.
Sure.
So I text him. He answers my email like 2 weeks later. Yo, sorry man, I've been so busy with life and so much crazy stuff is happening at the studio. I've been super busy. I'd love to chat. I'm like, amazing. I email him, all right, how's Monday? You know, whatever, my courtesies, and then how's Monday? And then a day later, I'm like, oh, it's going to take a little bit to answer. I'm like, oh, actually, you know, Tuesday works better. So I sent him 2 emails. Doesn't answer me. It's been like 2 months. I'm like, let me shoot him another email.
2 months?
2 months after that point.
Oh, man.
I'm like, let me shoot him one more email.
Yeah.
Give him a whole spiel.
Hail Mary.
A whole spiel about, like, hey, man, this is sort of what I'm looking for in my life. Like, let me just tell him what I want to say to him.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting, because maybe he'll see it someday.
Right.
So I tell him like this long email. This is where I'm at in my life. This is where I want to be. This is what I'm looking for, you know, an assisting position. If you ever need help with anything, please let me know. I'd love to be around and just help you out as much as I can.
Right.
Doesn't answer. maybe
That's so funny.
a month and a half
funny.
later. A month and a half. Like, this is 3 weeks ago. I'm in the gym. I'm down. I haven't been working out. I haven't been trying to like better myself because like nothing has been working out. You know? I get a random phone call. I answer the phone. I'm like, hello? Like, assuming it's spam, you know, sort of like with an attitude. It's like, hey man, it's blah blah. Like, sorry, I've been so busy. I'm like, who? Who am I speaking with? He's like, blah blah from, you know, from GCC, you know, from class. I'm like, there's no fucking way this guy's calling me right now. I didn't answer email, just straight called me.
Yeah.
He didn't even answer that text that I had sent him. He just called me.
Yeah.
I was like, what's up, man? Good to hear from you. I started cracking up out of like nervousness. You know, I was cracking up on the phone. I'm like, what's up? How's it going? And we talked for like an hour and a half, and he was telling me some advice, and I spit it out. And I'm like, hey man, you know, I'd really love to assist you. Because I know that a lot of mixing engineers and producers, like, they get a lot of their chops and experience and credits from assisting other engineers. That a lot of the big engineers now, if you look them up, they have more or less likely worked for another big producer or engineer.
Right.
So I was like, I'd love to learn from, and they do like, and he does like full band sessions. You know, it's not like 2-track vocals. Like he's doing full band session recordings all the time. It's amazing experience. He has his
Right.
own studio. So I went by, we did like a little trial hangout thing. You know, I've been helping him out for like a week at this point right now.
Yeah.
I planted this seed in my mind to like try to get this to work out. Like I'm not joking, 7 months ago. And it's been an amazing experience.
Did he say anything about the email?
Not really.
Really?
No. Sorry, I've been busy. He's like, it's been so crazy. And he told me his
Interesting.
situation. It has been actually insane.
He
Like,
wasn't like, oh, your email really touched me.
No. No, he's like, sorry, I haven't been able to get back to you. Because I knew at the end of the day, I'm like, by the way, don't do this to random people. I knew he was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that he would have answered if I had reached out. I was assuming my emails were going to spam because I'm a random emailing. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I was assuming the worst. Oh, maybe he just doesn't have time. He's ignoring me. But a lot of the times people go like, oh, he doesn't want me to talk to him. He doesn't want me to message him. He's annoyed of me. That is not the case a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You might have some people who think that, but don't let that discourage you because a lot of people really just don't see your email. They really just didn't remember
Right.
to answer your text. The same way I just answered someone 4 days late right now. And I feel like they texted me 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, shit starts moving and you
Narek
forget track of time.
You never respond to my text.
Yeah, I know. I just don't like you though. That's different.
But I mean, that's an interesting thing because a lot of people say, like, don't play your cards. Like, play close to the chest and don't put your cards out there. But I think there's something to be said for the opposite as well, and just being honest and being real with someone.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, I like want to assist you, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he was slightly apprehensive, but not in a rude way.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't really know me. But I had enough experience where I was, you know, so he had an easier session that I was able to sit in on and help out for this past week before the like bigger like label and manager stuff starts
Sure.
working in. So far we're getting along really well.
Nice.
And, you know, really cool opportunities can open up from that, but also mostly great learning experience. Great learning experience to sort of develop you in the industry. And he has taught me a lot just from his listening from his stories
Yeah.
and listening from his experiences. You know, it took this engineer who has been working since like for like 30 years as an engineer, 25 years as an engineer. It took him until his like 20th year, 22nd year to really do what he loves.
Oh, man.
You know how crazy that is?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that also led to like, you know what's crazy? The second that guy called me, I got like emails back to me. I got other people texting me back finally after not answering me for weeks.
Yeah.
You know, like a bunch of people hit me up again. I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm busy again. You know what I mean? And like a bunch of people I wanted to meet with and talk to and catch
Yeah.
up with and other cool engineers and producers and, you know, professionals, they just hit me back. And I was like, oh shit, I'm like booked now.
Yeah.
For the next 2 weeks, I'm like booked.
Let's go.
Like even right now, we're booked for the rest of
Yeah.
the day. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just really cool the way that life works. You have to keep a positive attitude because if you're negative, you'll realize that later on when things are working out, like why the fuck was I so down about it? You know what I mean? It's like almost annoying that you're pissing yourself off for no reason.
Oh, man. We're going to look back at this in a few years and go, wow, these
We're
morons.
such good podcasters, fucking jabronis.
I want to hear a little bit about the assisting. Like, do you feel like you like wowed him? Like you were like, he's like, holy, this guy is like maybe the best.
It's a very
assistant
different
I've ever
workflow.
seen.
No, it's a very different workflow. He told me who he thought was the best assistant was working at this other studio, but they obviously knew that studio very well. I don't really know the setup, but he says things and I just sort of remember them. And I sort of remember them and just try to do my best. But so
Yeah.
far, he said, I've been doing great. But but you have to be able to put your ego aside and become like an intern /
Right.
assistant again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, can you pick up coffee? You know, can you like, but like in the moment, that might be what they need.
Yeah.
They can't get up and go get coffee.
Right.
They're in a session or before the session, they want to prep something. Can you go get coffee? Can
Yeah.
you grab us food? Get whatever you'd like. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm doing 99% of the time, but it's like, he's told me people have literally quit doing that because I asked them to do that. That's sort of
crazy.
what the gig is to a
Yeah.
certain extent. You're assisting the engineer, whatever he needs.
We've
you're
done-
helping him out. There's
we've done-
boundaries, obviously.
We've done a lot more for a lot less.
I've done cleaning toilets every single day for a studio for literally nothing. For an
Like,
opportunity.
I'll like roll up to the liquor store at like
Done that-
1:30
oh, man,
a.m.
those were a nightmare.
Like with cash in hand. I gotta call the artist. Hey, so this bottle is actually like $5 more than you gave me. What do you want to do? How do you want to play this? They go, what about this tequila? And then you go, how much is that tequila? They go, that's $45. He goes, oh man, and it's like I'm like driving all over town.
So weird. I hated that, man. That's the runner duties, man. If you're ever a runner, it's gonna be the time in your life where you're just like, I don't want to do what I'm doing right now. That will test you. That will test you to see if you actually become like an engineer.
Yeah.
If you want to work at a studio, like be with them for like 2-3 years and eventually be an engineer there. That is one of the things that you're gonna have to get through.
Yeah, I mean, it's
for like at
gotta,
least a year or two.
You got to pay your dues.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And this guy was talking about paying his dues.
Mhm.
It was crazy, man. Imagine 20 years of paying your dues. He did a lot of cool stuff in the meantime. A lot of cool stuff. It wasn't like he wasn't making money or not working, but it's the type of work that you're doing is not exactly what is your ideal situation, right?
Yeah.
Right now he's like producing and recording artists for like big songs and big albums. Like that's what he wanted to do. That's not what he was doing before. So, and it was very similar to what I was doing. So it was very weird that we had a very similar experience. So we had a lot to talk about. We had a lot to, it was a really good experience.
Yeah, that's nice. I actually just had my first photo shoot in like a while, and I don't know if you feel this, but like when I go back to working and like doing anything creative, it's like infinitely harder to get back into the zone than it is to stay in the zone.
Yeah,
and so like I remember the day before I hit up the guy. It's our lovely friend Matt. Shout out Matt.
Matt.
Like I remember being like, okay, let's do this. I text him. He goes, no way. I was going to text you. Let's do it tomorrow. And then like the morning of, yeah, let's do this. And then like over the course of the day, my inspiration, my motivation just dropped and like plummeted.
Nervous,
And then I show up at his house and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't
What
want
do
to
I
do
even do?
this.
Yeah, what do I
I don't
even
want to
do?
do this. Why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, why am I even a photographer?
Yeah.
And then we get to Chinatown where we did the shoot. And then like, you know, you just like, you throw it all away and you're like, huh, this is like fun. This is like what I'm doing. Huh?
Yeah, I have
This is
those
cool.
things. It's so hard to fight that's why you have to stay healthy, man.
Yeah.
A huge part of it is like, for me at least, is like physical health, which I have not been taking care of.
Yeah.
But that being said, like also not abusing like smoking and drinking and which we do from time to time, but it's just
Dude, I had a good
fogs your mind, man.
I had a
It
good
makes
like
you more nervous, anxious.
8-month run
Mhm.
on just like working out 3 times a week, and then just out of nowhere, it's basically the exact same thing as not like the holiday season for working.
Yeah. I was gonna say
It's
it's the
my
same thing
holiday
as that.
season for working out.
Yeah.
Where I just like shut off.
Well,
I'm
you know
like,
what
I don't wanna do
that's
this.
literally because you're being productive.
Yeah.
And then you stop and now you make any excuses not to be productive. Because I've been productive for so long. Like I
Yeah.
don't have anything today. I'm not gonna do anything. Because your brain isn't in work mode.
Uh-huh.
You have to be self-motivating, which is
Do you have
the hardest
anything
part.
that you do? Like, let's say you're at home
Mhm.
and you like don't have anything to work on. You don't have any mixes.
Yeah. Nightmare.
Like, what are you doing to like stay productive? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's one thing that you do
I do
as
a lot
a
of
pastime?
research. I do a lot of research. I go on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I find people that I may not have talked to yet. I find new methods of maybe creating income. Like for example, I started hitting up a bunch of events.
Started drop shipping.
No, not like that. Not like that at all. Within the realm of
I
my
bought a
work.
couple vending machines.
It's actually not a bad idea. I hit up a bunch of event planners actually. So instead of working for someone who owns an event production
Oh.
company, I book my own events through the event planner
Yeah.
and get commission on the events.
Yeah.
So instead of making whatever amount of, like, let's say you make minimum wage, instead of making minimum wage, now you get like 30% commission on an event, which can go anywhere from, I mean, if you book an event that is like a concert, they could pay close to $20,000 for a show, you know, so you could make 30% of $20,000.
Yeah.
You could make really good money. Or like, let's say 20% of it. Even 20% is really good money for one night. You might have to work a lot to get there, but you'll make your money for if you're a freelance, it's probably like 2 months worth of money you're making, you know,
Yeah.
like it's really cool. So I've been booking smaller shows here and there, reaching out to people. And that's what I was saying, how sometimes people hit you up again. And like, I thought it was so weird that an event planner, I didn't think it was weird. I was like, you never think things are going to work out in your head when you do it. You message someone like, hey, you know, like just to meet up. And then I got a random email like, hey, can you do this event for me? Actually, I need someone.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the yeah, I could do it. It's like an easy gig for me to do, but I was like, damn, you hit me up to do it, huh?
I think it's so interesting that like you don't think about how other people see you, but like if you do a good job, like doing live audio, and then somebody thinks about it, they don't have like
They don't have other people
they
to
don't
do it.
have a network in their brain of like 1,000 live
Yeah.
audio guys.
And a lot of the times they're not good.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very lazy with the job. So if you do a good job, they'll remember you.
I mean, it's interesting. I was thinking about our great friends band
Yeah.
and how like they showed up to a studio, and like the engineer on hand
Mhm.
just ended up becoming their mixing engineer
Oh,
and like
really?
their go-to recording engineer. Like that's their guy
Cool.
now. But I mean, that's one of those things where just like, you know, being in someone's mind, that's like the advantage of networking. right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I don't know any photographers off rip. Let me just think of like the only one that I've ever met and come
Mhm.
into contact with.
And people do that for me because, well, if I haven't already said it, I'm Armenian, and there isn't that many Armenian audio engineers, and it's a pretty tight knit community. Like everyone sort of knows
Yeah.
each other, or by one degree they know someone. You know, like
Yeah.
so if they're asking around, like other people go like, oh, I might be the only mixing engineer that people might know of within the entire community that they are a part of. So I'm the only person to go to if they want to find someone, unless it's out of their pocket. But if I work with their friend and they like what they hear from their friend's music,
Right.
they're going to be like, who mixed your song? You know, or who records you? Because they post pictures of you and this and that. So like you might have a whole community of work that is completely untapped.
Yeah.
You know, which is sort of what happens to me all the time, actually. That's how I got this gig. The lady that I hit up was an Armenian event planner. You know, that's probably one of the main reasons she hit me back up. You know, it's like they're comfortable with the idea that they might know you. She ended up sort of knowing the company I worked for. She was comfortable with the idea of it.
Right.
So it's good to play to your advantages.
Yeah.
Play to your advantages, what you know, the community that you're coming from, whether it's a neighborhood, culturally, anything. Like reach out. Reach out.
I think you know, we've talked a lot about a lot of nothing on this episode, just being very scatterbrained, but
No,
you know, just
good
on like
stuff.
the holiday season basically.
Yeah.
But I want to end with something that I saw in a movie recently. Movies have been the way that I've been keeping myself productive. In air quotes. I watched this movie called Burning. And it's this like intense Korean film about like socioeconomic class and the division of people and the control of people, and like socioeconomic class and gender and how they divide people. But there's one thing that happens. The main character, he writes, and he has a writing degree, degree in creative writing, and he's with this rich guy, and this rich guy is introducing him to his friends, and they go, "What do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I write, but nothing published yet." And then the rich guy goes, "So you're a writer?" He's a writer. You write, you're a writer. You know, and it's like, in a way,
That's so funny.
It's a commentary on how socioeconomic class dictates the control over you and what you think you can do and what you can't do as a human being. But then, like, also taking that and internalizing it and turning that around and saying, "Okay, I control this for myself."
Yeah.
And then saying, like, "Okay, like, you are an engineer, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm a photographer. Like, if you're in your studio in your home, in your home studio,
home studio,
and you are making beats, but nobody's buying anything, you're still a producer. You're still a producer. You know, if you write, you're still a songwriter.
And that's actually really important to keep in mind, because the people who hire you will feel that energy. Another example, the way that I approach people and the way that I hold myself in speaking conversation is like, I consider myself a professional, even though sometimes you may not, there's always the imposter syndrome, right? But like, you have to consider yourself a professional, at least act like one, you know, fake it, so that other people feel like it's very easy for people to pick up the fact, oh, this person is a professional. This is all like implicit in your mind, right? It's like, oh, this person acts like a professional, they must be legit. You know, like that's as fast as it goes. Like the thought is 10 times faster than that.
Yeah.
So if you treat yourself like a professional, you have a professional profile, a good looking website, everything works. When people message you, you get back to them quickly.
Yeah.
They're going to hire you, you know, like, and obviously that you do a good job, but honestly, sometimes you just have to get the job done and they'll keep hiring you.
Let me say something on that though, because I think there's a huge, like, we put it on ourselves, and I think we kind of subconsciously put it on other people, that you have to present yourself a certain way.
Sure.
And I think that for a lot of people, that's a huge barrier for entry. And like, when I was doing photography, like, I remember you last year pushing me to do like my first professional photo shoot.
Right.
And I was terrified, right? And I didn't do a good job. I mean, like I was a nobody,
Right.
and I like hadn't taken any photos before.
Mhm.
So like for me, it was just like, you know, a learning experience that I was like really nervous about. But like if I had stopped the barrier for entry, if I was like, oh, I don't have anything professional yet, my page doesn't look correct, and I didn't do it, then I wouldn't have learned.
Right.
So like if for you, what you need to do is just get out there and be honest and be open with somebody and play your cards and be like, okay, I like am not like in your own mind accepting that you're not gonna be at your best. Like it's all a learning opportunity.
It is all learning, and like I said, your lowest points are going to be the greatest learning opportunities. Try not. I do this all the time, but try not to be too hard on yourself. Try not to be when you're at your lowest point. It's not your fault. You know, take the benefit, take the positive out of it, because you're going to see the positive like 5 years later. And it's unfortunate that we have to put so much stress on ourselves when it's not necessary. Because 5 years from now, it's not going to matter. You're going to think of all the benefit that you got from that experience.
Right.
And I understand that some people, maybe they don't understand or know or have been shown how to be like a professional. But when I say professional, it's not like I'm wearing a business suit. Like I go to these meetings in my cargo pants and t-shirt from work, or, you know, I just try to be respectful.
Right.
I'm just respectful. I'm talking to them in a way where they can easily understand me. I can easily understand them. You know, it's very straightforward to the point. I'm not bullshitting them. Because you could look at a lot of bullshit messages on LinkedIn, Instagram, and this and that. Like, hey bro, like I'm an engineer out of LA. I have 5 years of experience. You know, like I heard you're doing really sick stuff. I'd love to, like, don't talk, you know, not like, don't call them bro. Don't say you're doing really sick stuff. You know, that's not how you talk to someone. It's like, hey man, I'm an audio engineer. I'm 25 years old. I've been trying to pursue this for 2 years. You know, I've had some success, but I want to, you know, reach another level. I saw you have really a great amount of notable work. I'd love to hear from your experiences. And if you have any advice that you can offer me, I'd love to hear it. Get back to me if you can. I really appreciate your time. Best regards. You can be from anywhere and say that. You know what I mean? You just have to it's so hard to explain, because I don't want to say that's a professional email or a professional whatever. It's not a professional message. It's just, you're showing your respect to someone who has put years of time. You know, they're not your friend. They put years of time. They've sacrificed maybe relationships, marriages, you know, like they've sacrificed a lot to be where they're at. All you're doing is showing them a courtesy. And a lot of the time, people get back to me and say, thank you so much for your sincere message. So I know it works. And these are people that did not have to answer me, are not in a position where they need to answer me at all. I'm actually a waste of their time. I don't think I am, but you know, that's how it comes off. So if you want to take that template of a little writing structure, I use that a lot of the times. It works really well. It has a good success rate for the amount of people I reach out to. So do with that what you will.
Yeah. I mean, that's very important. We're both in a position right now of assisting. And I think, you know, like looking around and trying to find a mentor is one big thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that everybody could learn from. Like this lighting setup would not be like this if I didn't have like a successful photographer that I was working with.
Right. Mentor is huge. That's that's if you're not doing anything, that's the number one thing you should be looking for. Number one thing, because if you can't get into a studio, guess what? That mentor will get you into a studio, or they'll at least let you work with them so that you build credit, and then maybe you can get into a studio, or you don't even need to get into a studio. You're learning plenty from that person. You know.
Do you have any lasting thoughts?
Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Things work out, and you learn from embarrassing yourself a lot, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be able to take the punches. And you have to be okay at being in the dirt a little bit from time to time. But, you know, things will pick up if you're consistent and you're dedicated. A little quick note. I just like blew into the microphone. A little quick note. I have a job interview. And I was thinking about this job interview gives me a decent salary, like if I got the job, which I didn't even think I was going to hear back. And they called me and, you know, somewhat interested. Let's say I do or don't get the job, 50-50. Good salary, benefits, insurance. It's within the audio realm, but it's not studio work. It's not really event production work. It's just like corporate kind of event, audio video work technician. I can take that and be comfortable, or I can spend all my free time assisting and trying to get my own work and do what I want. This is something I don't have the answer to. I don't have the answer to what the right decision is. I'm just saying that's something to think about. If you ever come across that, it's something to really consider. Because if I take this job, I'm working 9 to 6 every single day.
Yeah.
I have to 6 to 10. I have to do something by myself that is going to further my career in what I want, which is like studio work, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, working with artists, mixing music. I don't think it's going to happen. Like you can't make it happen. It's very hard, especially when you're assisting someone. They want you around often.
Right.
They want you every time they have a gig. They want you around.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider where you want to take your life, and if you're okay with having the 9 to 5, doing some audio and whatever it is that you like doing and pays you well, and you have a family or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, whatever, at home, and you guys have a great relationship, that is plenty to get from life. That is like pure happiness.
Yeah.
What you do, what we decide to do, is a struggle and is a constant stress and wanting to be the best at what you do. It's not fun even at the top. It's fun after.
Right.
It can be fun.
Yeah.
But we always say how we're like masochists, like,
Right.
like we enjoy the pain.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not fun, but it
Yeah.
is, like it's not like this is the sickest job in the world. And, like I'm going to work with this producer and this guy, and we're going to do all these like crazy #1 charting. Some of these #1 charting, they don't even get their platinum, gold. They don't even order them. They don't give a shit, because that's not the point of it.
Right.
Anyways. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in the same vein as that last thing you brought up about us being masochists, I've said this before.
Someone who enjoys hurting themselves,
but
by the way.
I'll
Someone
say it
who enjoys
again. Like, there are people in this world that just enjoy, like, that are satisfied and fine with working, like, a simple 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Or, like, a 6 to 3
Sure.
at a, does that math add up? 6 to 2, 7 to 3. I remember I did it after my senior year of high school. I went and worked at a fire lab, and I was doing blue collar work. And like, there are people there that have been working for like 20, 25 years just doing that. And for a lot of people, that's fine. And for a lot of people, like getting a degree in engineering and being a mechanical engineer and working on like bathroom, like fireproofing bathrooms is fine.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my girlfriend is a mechanical engineer. I thought that's what it was. She doesn't do that, but I thought that's what it was.
I was
going
talking
with
about my friend Lowell. But, for us as creatives, I think there's a yearning in our soul for this idea of contrast, not even in succeeding, but in the idea that like your reward system is broken.
Yeah.
In your
You're
brain.
sick in the head, yeah.
And so you want this higher level of success. You want a higher level of emotional fulfillment, but you're not going to get that without also having significantly lower lows than a lot of people.
It's a lot of instability.
And it's like, without the dark, the stars wouldn't shine as bright.
Beautiful. And it's also like you'll have to go through that and realize that you don't like. I think a large majority of people will end up not doing producer, engineer. You say you're down for it.
Yeah.
And then you'll experience it. And imagine having to put up with every day you don't want to go to work. As bad as you don't want to go to a normal job, worse, because there might be verbal abuse involved. There might be like you not succeeding at your work on a daily basis for years. That is a potential, So you have to be willing to sacrifice.
I think accept and be excited for the difficulties that you're going to have, because it means that you're pushing yourself to be what you want to be.
You're progressing. If it's hard, then you're progressing.
It's all a learning lesson.
Oh man, now I'm depressed. I don't want to go to work.
What do you mean depressed? That was
I'm
good.
Depressed.
That was good. That was great.
I'll never surmount anything. I'm joking. I'm a fucking take over the world. Matchi will never be anything without me. You fucking loser.
Oh man. On that note, thank you so much for listening to this very scattered episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube,
let us know how the microphones sound. Are they better than episode 1 and 2?
I wonder how the rejection is.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah. I also don't know how close I'm supposed to speak to this, or I was looking at the waveforms.
I was sort of trying to match you a little bit.
Yeah.
But
then I was trying to match you, and then you were trying to match me, so I think it was a little
scatterbrained episode.
Yeah, it's fine. Growing pains.
Growing pains. We should rename the podcast.
You're Asian. We're Asian.
We're Asian. You're Asian.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a like, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts,
Sure.
Spotify Podcasts. Dude, we should make an audiobook.
On top of making an audiobook,
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
What do you mean?
Oh,
You
our
forgot what you were gonna
Instagrams,
say?
our Instagrams.
Oh,
If you want to hit us up or talk about anything, make any suggestions for episodes, you guys
Please.
have questions.
yeah. My Instagram is Obscure Matchi, OBSCUREMATCHI.
And mine is mixing.waves. Waves, WAVS.
Dude,
like the wave file
have
extension.
you ever been working with someone who like you think is a professional and they say WAVs?
No. Never
I had
experienced
it
that.
happen. I had it happen one time.
Wavs.
I didn't know how to play it from there.
I probably would have
I
got in
didn't
my
know-
car and left.
I didn't know how to play it from there. I was like, ooh.
Yikes.
And then the thing is, if you continue to talk about waves, do
You have to say
do you
WAVs.
say WAVs or do
I
you
can't.
say waves?
You're
You know what I mean?
completely going against your own beliefs.
Yeah. What if you say WAVs?
Yeah.
So would you say WAVs or would you say waves?
Waves. Guaranteed.
Yeah. I would at that point. I would just dodge the bullet and say audio files.
Yeah, of course. That's the right answer. Don't tell people they're wrong.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching.
Yalla,
Yalla,
bye.
bye.